Hey VC, this is Harvey of Spin the Black Circle, and welcome back to Friday Night Vinyl, or indeed welcome for the first time if you're new to the channel. Hope everyone is well and doing good things. So, if you've clicked on the thumbnail, you're obviously interested, either a lot or a little, in this shootout edition between 1960s UK pressing of Frank Sinatra's seminal Songs for Swingin' Lovers versus the Tone Poet worldwide brand new 2026 master that came out only yesterday, 27th of March 2026. Now then, we shouldn't really be doing one of these shootout videos unless we've really pitted these two pressings against each other and familiarized ourselves with the new pressing. Fortunately, although it only came out yesterday, I have played the heck out of the new Tone Poet and back-to-backed it with the 1960s Songs for Swingin' Lovers, which I'm about to show you. So I've got a good sense of what to say to you about this for an album that I am very familiar with. So let's get into it then. So the 1960s pressing, I haven't got an original UK or US pressing, but this is a Capital Rainbow label, 1960s tip-on jacket, Goward and Loft House. Good condition, VG I would say, somewhere between VG and VG Plus UK pressing, and it is excellent. There's no two ways about it. The presence in terms of Frank sitting in the middle of that Nelson Riddle orchestra, the fact that the orchestra could turn on a dime, and the fact that this is a much more upbeat than his last release in the wee small hours, and needs a lot of dynamism and drive. It's all here in abundance. So if you want to pick up this 1960s or early pressing, early UK or worldwide pressing of Songs for Swingin' Lovers, don't hesitate. You know, this is clearly analog because it's 1960s. It sounds like it's been mastered well. There's a fantastic presence in terms of, I say, Frank kind of sits right in the middle of the orchestra is how this sounds, and it's got that wonderful kind of hue to his voice that is much more resonant on vinyl. I had this originally on CD, and it always just sounded like a kazoo, like it was a EM radio playing in the background. But this mono UK pressing from the 1960s, if I hadn't heard the Tone Poet, I would want for more. But curiosity for an album I love got the better of me, VC. So I did yesterday pick up this, or through the mail, received my a Tone Poet edition of Songs for Swingin' Lovers. Now, starting with the cover, those in the know will recognise that they have gone back to the original Songs for Swingin' Lovers 1956 cover, in which Frank was looking away from the two enamoured lovers, whereas on the reissue, after the first few editions, he's now looking slightly voyeuristically at the at the couple. I probably would have stuck with the original actually, but anyway, that's the first thing you notice is that difference. Then of course this gets the Tone Poet treatment for those who are aware, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I probably can't say it properly how fantastic this laminate is on a Tone Poet, and then you have these fantastic gatefold sleeves with most of the Tone Poets, and this is no exception, with Nelson Riddle there. And then obviously three pictures of Frank Sinatra in the middle of recording this wonderful album of standards, in the original back cover too. So faithfully reproduced, I think, in terms of both the front and back cover, but expanded and extended in terms of the cover art to give it the Tone Poet treatment on the inside. So the packaging is everything you expect for those who own Tone Poets. It feels like, and it looks like, a premium product. Well packaged too. There are no dents or dings anywhere on this, which I guess depends on your distributor, right? Depends where you get it from, but this is absolutely gorgeous. So that's the cover, but what are we here to talk about? The music. Well, it's if you play the first song on Songs for Swingin' Lovers, which is you make me feel so young, immediately you hear a difference. Now I want to say two major things. I said that on this the 60s pressing, Frank is sitting in the middle of the orchestra. On this, and I do think this is a good thing, you've got him out front in the soundstage, so like he's kind of standing in front of you, or the mic's there, and he's singing directly. I don't mean that it's forward or grating or oppressive in terms of his vocals. It's just much more presence because he's in front of the orchestra. And then remember, these are both monos. Then the orchestra very much sounds like it's sitting behind Frank, despite this being a mono. So the soundstage you get is wonderful because you're able to then have separation between Frank's vocals and Nelson Riddle's orchestra, and kind of hear this, the kind of both the inflections in his voice, but also the range of instruments and all of the detail of what's happening in the orchestra because it's kind of sitting behind him on the soundstage. Add to that, there's a lot more richness. This is kind of drier and more shrill, even though it sounds really good. And there's a ton more kind of body and the feel that you're listening to real instruments on this tone poet ratio. It sounds unbelievable. It would be a demo disc on a demo album on most systems, but it's much subtler than that too, right? It doesn't boom out of the speakers, but just the kind of relaxing into this wonderful set of standards with Sinatra out front and the orchestra and being able to pick up individual instruments for the first time instead of a bit of a wall of sound with Sinatra sitting in the middle on this this earlier pressing. Obviously the condition of this too, I mean, this is a brand new RTI tone poet on much higher quality vinyl, and so this has got lots of pops and crackles, but even allowing for that, this is off the chart. And here's where it matters, I guess. I feel like I can enjoy the music more, get closer to the music, and just relax and listen more on this pressing, rather than just being dynamically impressive or something that's academically impressive. So I would say if you haven't got a copy of Songs for Swingin' Lovers, I would buy the tone poet for what in the UK about £35. You're probably going to pay quite a bit for an analog pressing in VJ Plus condition of this. See, like a 60s and certainly a 50s pressing would be expensive. And therefore, if you don't have a copy of Songs for Swingin' Lovers, I heartily recommend the tone poet. If you already, like me, have this, I would still recommend the tone poet, especially if you really, really love this album, because as much as I like this, I can't imagine, other than for these shootout purposes, getting this out again. I'll keep it. It's at some point I might play it again if I'm demoing it for somebody else. But this is closer to the music, typical of a tone poet, typical of the quality of Kevin Gray's mastering, and also how Joe Harley operates as an executive at Blue Note and Tone Poet. So an absolutely astonishing reissue. So hats off to Kevin Gray, hats off to the collaboration between Blue Note and Capitol in releasing this, because it's absolutely in every way, shape, and form astonishing. Obviously this follows the reissue of In the Wee Small Hours on Tone Poet, which I also have, and this is my 1980s digital pressing. So I'll do a part 2, actually. It's too much for one video, but I'll do a part 2 when I've really got to grips with In the Wee Small Hours Tone Poet and how it compares to this 80s reissue. But I thought hot off the press, and Songs for Swingin' Lovers coming out yesterday, some of the VC might just appreciate a little heads up and just an opinion on where I think it sits for those who enjoy a bit of Frank. So with that, hope everyone has a good rest of weekend. Take care and peace.